Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to OKKO Let's Be Heroes, episodes 21 through 24. Yeah, it's been quite a while since we've gotten to OKKO. But we are finally back. We were supposed to be back last week, but I was sick. And this week instead, we have our, we have our cold spell. It's still freezing, and especially because Governor of Michigan and Consumers Energy has asked us to turn down our heat because there is a gas fire at Consumers, and now they have limited stock of all of that until probably tomorrow. They said turn it down until tomorrow at Friday at noon. So yeah, it's even colder than before. But I've got Piper here, keeping me warm. I'm keeping her warm, right? Right, Piper? You don't want to look at the camera? And yeah, all of that jazz going on. I know also I haven't shaved in a few days. Usually I shave when I'm like going somewhere, and usually that ends up being on Wednesdays, Thursdays, or Sundays, but I shaved back on Sunday, and I haven't shaved since because yesterday I didn't go to Bible study because it was canceled due to the weather. And today I'm probably not going to be going to the game night either because of the weather. Are you licking my thumb? So yeah, it's just, I haven't. I probably should, but I just haven't yet. But either way, so yeah, last we left off with OKKO, I don't think any big story stuff was happening. We had gotten a couple hints at a story. Something about, I think, a burrito or something, involving Mr. Gar and Carol, and something from their past. We're starting to get little hints at their backstory and all, but we haven't gotten, like, any solid info or any big moments yet. So hopefully that comes soon. But who knows? Who knows? My feelings just in general on the show have changed a lot since, or like the early parts. Like, for example, as you may know, if you were watching when I really started reacting to this and all, I liked Enid at first, but more recently I stopped liking her as much. I've actually kind of become a little irritated by her. While at the same time, I've actually started liking, what's-his-face, Rad, more. It's kind of like they switched places, because I found him irritating at first, but have grown to like him more now that they've started to develop and characterize him a little better. I still like Carol and Mr. Gar and all. The villains are still fun. Shannon is still best girl. So there is all of that. In fact, I think over the time I've had off from watching the show, I've actually started to realize that I like Shannon even more. Like, I liked her beforehand, but now I really like her character. You know, I've gotten fan art and stuff, let's put it that way. And none of that. Don't think that. None of that. But yeah, either way, I'm really excited to be back. Like I said, it's been a while, and I just feel like it's about time to get back into this. So yeah, we are doing 4 episodes today, which, you know, half length, the equivalent of 2 normal length episodes. Also, my hand is glowing. I have the power. What are you doing down here? What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm excited to get back into it, so we're going to do so. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So that being said, thank you all so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. What the fuck was that final episode there was like, what the fuck? Sometimes I worry about this show. But let's talk about all of these in order. So, episode 21 was the one with Enid and Eloise. So Eloise was Enid's best friend when they were growing up. And she comes to town. Again, we find out that the reason that they had kind of split up is because when they decided to go into this prep school, this hero school together, it basically came down to the two of them. Only one could move on. And while Enid chose not to fight her friend, Eloise not only did fight her, which wasn't even as much of the issue. She not only did fight her and win, she lied and told Enid that they were never really friends and that she had used her. We would come to find out that Eloise still had the half of the best friend's matching necklace, and that she was lying this entire time. It's very clear that she was lying, and that I think she was just trying to spare her own feelings. The fact that she got in and would be separated from her friend, she wanted to, I think, forget about her and kind of play herself off as the bad guy to kind of make it so that she didn't, I don't know how to put it, that she didn't feel as guilty for betraying her best friend. If she claims that, oh, they were never best friends and she was using her just to gain that popularity, she would feel better than if she told the truth and it's like, oh, I just betrayed my best friend just to get into this school. So it's like, it's really interesting, and I'm really wanting to see more of this and hope that they can mend their relationship in the future. I really actually liked that. It wasn't like the best episode, but I really liked where it went. The second episode here, though, is my favorite of the set today. So Rad is putting on a prom. It's not like your typical prom necessarily. It's just a party, basically. He's putting on a party in the plaza, and he wants it to be cool, so all of the cool kids that he's always trying to impress will like it and like him. Basically, he wants to have that reputation among the cool kids. And in a way, that kind of reminds me of Lars from Steven Universe. And I mean, Ian James Quarterly is the creator of this show and the voice actor of Rad. So, yeah, it's not really that surprising that there would be that inspiration there. So Rad is trying to put on this party, and trying to just do everything right. He has this scroll that he got from his cousin's friend, Blaine, I believe it was, and it's basically all this stuff like, oh, play the most popular music, make sure your guests are hydrated, have hors d'oeuvres. And it's like, all in all, the stuff that I did see that was on the list wasn't bad. It's like, make sure your guests are hydrated? Hell yeah. If you ever have a party, you have to make sure that your guests are hydrated. You have to make sure that they have plenty of food and water. You have to make sure that they have plenty of options in case they need to use the restroom or just be safe in general. You have to make sure, if you're hosting a party, you have to make sure that your guests are good in any possible way. But in the end, the party that the scroll basically had them put together wasn't really fun. It was efficient, but not fun. And so they came to realize this after Raymond came in, because why not? And so Enid gets to play the music she wanted to play instead of the mainstream trash. I love the visual gags, by the way, with Enid in this episode. How she was like legitimately cringing, and like it kind of showed her as like becoming legitimately ill over the fact that she was playing the mainstream garbage instead of her, the music she liked. It was really legitimately funny. But yeah, she gets to play the music she likes, and everybody starts getting into it. And Rad and Raymond have a dance battle, which is actually really freaking hilarious and awesome. Like, it's actually really cool. I really like that moment. And Rad defeats Raymond because he apparently can actually dance. And so, yeah, the episode just does a really good job of being entertaining, having good animation, an actual good story. Like, I'm not super fond of the entire, oh, we have to do everything we can to impress these cool kids. I've never been super huge into that kind of thing. But both Steven Universe and now this show have actually done it pretty well. In Steven Universe with Lars and the cool kids, we find out that the cool kids are actually legitimately cool. They're actually good people. They're really caring and helpful. And they may have a little bit of a teenager side to them, but well, actually, I think they're supposed to be young adults. I think they're supposed to be young adults. Because Sadie and Lars are young adults for sure. I think they're right around the same age, so like maybe like 18 or 19 at the youngest. Either way, they still have that kind of teenage, young adult mindset to them, but they're still really cool people. They're really nice, and we grow to love them as characters just as much as pretty much anyone else. And now in this, the cool kids in here, we don't really have as much with them as we did with like Sour Cream and Buck Dewey and Jenny, but we still like have some kind of interest in them just from previous episodes. And in this one, it's more about connecting to the how do I put it? Well, again, with Steven Universe, it was about the cool kids just being cool. With this one, while the cool kids aren't these like amazing characters, we have had points in the past where they've shown, especially that bird girl, that they can be pretty cool. But this, it's more about Rad himself, and it just feels like they're giving a lot to his character, I feel. And I really like it. And that brings us into the next one, episode 23, with Enid and Rad's dates. So we find out that in middle school, Enid and Rad had a crush on each other. And they agreed to go out on a date. But Rad fucked it all up because he listened to his friends. Rad was, we already knew, was kind of nerdy and everything when he was younger. He was... he wasn't like this big macho guy like he acts like now. And we've seen now more of Enid as a kid and everything, and we know that she was kind of shy and nervous and timid, and tended to be just like really cutesy even. So they go on the date, and he keeps insulting her and stuff. And he's acting like current day Rad. And you start to put it together, this is why he acts like this. Because of his friend's advice and everything, and the little shoulder devils he had, he kept thinking that this was the right way to act. He never realized how much he had hurt Enid at that time. And so he kept acting like this because he thought that's what he had to do to be cool, to eventually get everything he wanted. And that's why he continues to put on this front to this day. I mean, we've seen already in past episodes that it is a front, that he's not really like this. And we even see it in this episode where he goes out of his way to save Enid when she falls from the ring. That was still weird. I really like what they're doing with Rad. I really do, because they're showing that, and this is realistic. There are people who put on these fronts, who try to be cool and badass and everything, because they think that's how they're supposed to act, especially in high school. So to see this again here, and to see these characters going through this and knowing what they're really like and everything, it really adds this certain level of depth to them that is needed. And again, it's not like the best representation of this necessarily, but it's really good, and I really just love how it's handled. And then there was the episode 24, the Candy Thief episode, and this was just an entirely what the fuck episode. Obviously, this show and many other shows I've reacted to and just watched in general have these sometimes. There will be episodes that are really deep, really emotional, episodes that are really heavy and powerful, that have these messages and have great storytelling and characterization. But then there's the episodes that'll be just like, what the fuck did I just watch? Steven Universe grew out of that. Most of Steven Universe's what the fuck episodes were in season 1. And as the seasons progressed, it grew out of that. And shows like Adventure Time and Regular Show continued to have them in the later seasons. Well, Adventure Time in the later seasons from what I've seen. And I don't know about Regular Show. I've heard Regular Show gets better with that, but I don't know. We'll have to see as we continue reacting to that in the future, once we get back to Regular Show. But this one, the animation, the facial expressions, the way certain scenes were handled, just everything that was happening, that entire ending bit with the double crossing gag was all completely what the fuck. And then there's not even any really good payoff. It's like her hair turns red at the end. That's really the only change that happens to her. And if she had actually legitimately turned, like, really young and everything, then that would be different. If she, like, legitimately looked different, was kind of this tall, curvy bombshell like we saw in the stylized flashbacks, which, by the way, I did love the stylization with those scenes. If it had done that, then it would have been a lot better, because I feel there would have at least been some payoff to the episode. But it was more, instead of a payoff, it was more of a punchline to a joke. It's like the punchline was that, I guess even when she was younger, she still looked just like that. And in the end, it just comes across as a joke, as if the entire way this episode was written was supposed to be a joke, but they just kept throwing random shit and random gags into it just for the hell of it. And I'm not saying it was a bad episode. I'm just saying it was so completely what the fuck that it almost felt completely out of place even for this show. And that's hard to say, because OKKO is the kind of show where a what the fuck episode makes sense in. Just like with Adventure Time. It kind of fits with the show's general style. But at the same time, this felt like too much. Again, it wasn't bad, but it was too much. It could have... I guess the best way I could put it is it could have been worse, but I wouldn't say it was good either. It could have been worse, but it was still so much over the top that it kind of lost the joke in there. See, in my eyes, if you tell a joke, if you're doing some kind of joke in the way you're telling a story, and you take it way too over the top, then it loses all of its appeal. The appeal of a joke has to be rooted in some semblance of sanity. You have to have, like, some kind of either intelligence or normalcy in there. Even if just a little, even if there's a straight man character, that would help balance things out. And you can't count KO as the straight man, even though he was more, I guess, grounded than the old lady, than Ginger. But no, he was still way too goofy, which is KO, but again, it was too much of that, and there was, like, nothing to balance it out. And it has to have that balance, or it doesn't work in my eyes. And again, it wasn't bad. I wanna clarify that. It still wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. I kind of leave this Candy Thief episode kind of in the middle of the road, kind of a meh episode. And it was definitely the weakest of the bunch. I will say that for sure. As I said, the prom episode was definitely my favorite. And the one with Enid and Rad's date, I don't know the names of the episodes, so I'm just going to describe them. The one with Enid and Rad's date was definitely number 2, with Enid and Eloise as number 3. But those 3 were all very close in their quality. And I liked all 3 of them. The Candy Thief episode, the final one, was the only one that really didn't work as much for me. But hey, I mean, 3 out of 4 in a set is a very good ratio to have. So I'm happy that we still got those great episodes. And I hope you enjoyed them as well. I hope you're glad to be back to this show as I am. And for now, tell me your thoughts in the comments below about these 4 episodes of OKKO Let's Be Heroes. Tell me your thoughts on the characters, the developments, and the stories that they told, as well as anything else you can think of. For now, though, thank you so much for tuning in, and for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,